Thanks, everybody. We're using my laptop for some reason. I think this is an evil plot to get me to stop from walking around so much because I have a tendency to wander a lot. I have to be here to click. So we're going to start by talking about food. For those of you that are here in town, by the way, I should say, welcome to Texas. I've been here for 17 years. I wouldn't live anyplace else. And so I'm going to give you some food recommendations. I'm very sorry for everybody who's online. But Uchi Sushi and if you have a bad meal in this town, you're doing it wrong because we're nuts about our food here. And if you need more recommendations than these, I'm happy to talk to you afterwards. So Uchi Sushi, you wouldn't think of sushi when you think of Austin, Texas, but two top chef winners, Tyson Cole and Paul Key, started that. They also started a place called Loro, L-O-R-O, along with Franklin Barbecue. So if you don't want to wait in line for 2 hours to get brisket at Franklin Barbecue, you can go to Loro until they sell out. Torchy's Tacos. Do not leave Austin without having tacos, especially breakfast tacos. Another good place is Taco Deli. Maudie's Tex-Mex, old school Tex-Mex, good stuff. Lance and I went there the other night, really good. And then Terry Black's Barbecue. Please don't go to Stubbs for barbecue. I'll deny anybody from Stubbs who accuses me of slandering them. Go to Stubbs for music, but do not go to Stubbs for barbecue. Speaking of live music, Antone's is right down the street. Don't go to 6th Street. I know we're really close to 6th Street too, but it's college girls throwing up on their shoes during the school year, and it's otherwise like a lot of other bad things happen there. They call it Dirty Six for a reason. But Antone's is easily the best place around for music. There's also the Continental Club on South Congress. South Congress is another great place with a lot of good restaurants. And if you really want to get your Texas two-step on and you're serious about country music, then there's no better place than the Broken Spoke, which is about a 10-minute Uber ride south on Lamar. So that's it for my sales pitch for Austin, Texas. But hit me up if you want any more recommendations. So as Lance said, I'm the executive director of the National Cybersecurity Alliance. If you don't know that much about who we are, we empower a more secure, interconnected world. We stand for the safe and secure use of all technology. We encourage everyone to do their part to prevent digital wrongdoing of any kind. We build strong partnerships, educate and inspire all to take action to protect ourselves, our families, our organizations, and our nations. And only together can we realize a more secure, interconnected world. We're best known for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. We were the co-founders of that along with CISA a number of years ago. We've been a CISA grantee for about 19 years. We are champions of what was Data Privacy Day, now Data Privacy Week, the 3rd week in January every year. And we're just starting a new HBCU career program. If your security team is looking to recruit from any historically Black colleges and universities, please talk to us. We're holding mini cybersecurity job fairs at a number of HBCUs this fall and winter. We're very excited about that program. We're started from scratch. A lot of work that the team has done there. Great work. Millions of people turn to us for plain spoken information. We think of ourselves as the training and awareness people for the country, right? Or the human risk managers for the country, or maybe for the world if we can expand. We get over 2 million page views a year on our website, which I call creating a brand new website like having a baby. It takes forever, and it's really hard work when at the end to get it launched. And it sounds like a good idea at the time, and then you actually have to have the baby. But we have a brand new website on the world's best URL, staysafeonline.org. And we've hired a new associate in the last couple of weeks, a content writer. So you're going to see more content more quickly. That's more topical out there on our website. When we consider how many impressions we get from news media, and we were in the Washington Post twice in the last year, and I had the nerve-wracking privilege of being on WGN in Chicago and Good Day LA in Los Angeles. And when we add up that kind of reach, and we add up the reach of all the organizations that sign up to be champions for Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and the organizations that share our message on social media, things like that, our reach is more like 100 million people. So we're super excited about that. We have a ton of free stuff available on our website as well. These are our board member companies. If you work at one of these companies, thank you very much for your support. We couldn't fulfill our mission without you. I want to give a shout out to Tanya Dudley, who just spoke, and Perry Carpenter from KnowBe4, who's speaking tomorrow. They are two very engaged board members. So thank you very much, Tanya and Perry, for all your support. And then we have two staff members here up front, Jennifer Cook and Cliff Steinauer. If you guys want to give a wave. We have a table in the other room, so feel free to come visit us. So as Lance said, Cybersecurity Awareness Month is something we start planning for as soon as we're done. In the previous October, it feels like. Our tone this year is going to be to stay positive and approachable and use simple terminology. You've heard a lot about this today. No FUD, no fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Friendly, like you're talking to a friend and you're giving them advice. So not scary, but helpful. The theme from CISA this year is see yourself in cyber. This is the overarching theme that emphasizes that we all play a role in protecting ourselves and our families and our organizations. We're focusing on 4 main behaviors. So you heard from Oz earlier how we need to prioritize ruthlessly. If we give people too much advice at once, guess what? They overload and they don't do any of it. So we're focusing on 4 main behaviors, and we're also not going to have any more weekly themes. Those themes didn't always work for every organization, especially the jobs theme. That was usually the 3rd or 4th week. And so we've really, we're taking a page out of Lance's book, and we're talking more about risk management than we are about any particular weekly themes. So we're talking about how easy these 4 behaviors are, that it's actually easy to do these things. Now, those of us in security know that security is not always easy. Just ask anybody in your SOC, right? It's a daily game of whack-a-mole. But if we tell people like our employees or my kids and my mom, who I like to pick on a lot, if we tell them this stuff is hard, what are they going to do? Are they going to adopt these behaviors? They're just going to blow us off, right? I don't want to do hard stuff. Who wants to do hard stuff, right? I have a hard enough time getting myself to the gym every morning. I don't want to do hard stuff. So some of these behaviors are incredibly easy when you think about it. Like, you know, MFA is incredibly effective and it's super simple. So it's kind of a little bit of a marketing and psychology play, right? To tell people that this stuff is easy. So one of the behaviors, multi-factor authentication, as I said, it's pretty easy. Using strong, unique passwords, and I don't believe we should ever talk to people about long, complex, unique passwords without also giving them the tools to do that. And the best tool to do that is a password manager. If your IT team is telling you over and over again, oh, we've got SSO, we have it all covered, they're smoking something, because nobody has it all covered through SSO. It is better to give your people the tools. I spoke to a healthcare organization a couple weeks ago. They licensed the password manager for their employees in a way that allowed their employees to also use it for their families, which I thought was a great idea in encouraging employees to have good behaviors. And we can talk about how easy it is to use a password manager. It's quick. It's super quick, right? People have this impression that you have to spend like a whole Saturday afternoon picking one of these things, installing it, and then moving all your accounts into it. You know what? I tell people to start with just a couple. Put your financial services passwords in there, and install it on your browser, and just let it do its thing. As you visit those accounts, it'll ask you to add them, and you just click one button, right? This stuff is easy. A password manager can think of a long, complex password for a new account a lot faster than I can. What do? We read all those rules, you know, this many numbers, characters, blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, we think of something and we put it in there and it's missing one of the rules, right? So password manager is just so much faster and easier. And then updating your software, also pretty simple. And recognizing and reporting phishing, this is a little bit difficult, more difficult, the recognizing part, but the reporting part is pretty simple. Hopefully you're all using one-click reporting buttons. A word about some of the resources we have available. Please sign up to become a champion. You can do that on our website. You get access to a free toolkit that I'm going to talk about in a minute. We have over 800 organizations registered already, and you do have to sign up every year. I hear this from people constantly. Oh, I signed up last year. I signed up 2 years ago. Well, we wipe the slate clean every year, and to get your kit for this year, you need to sign up every year. So what's in the toolkit? There's a guide on how to use the toolkit. You see some examples there of social media posts and social media graphics. There are sample articles for your company newsletter, sample press release if your company wants to announce your support of Cybersecurity Awareness Month. There's no copyright or trademark on anything. You can plagiarize to your heart's content. You can edit to fit your tone of voice for your organization. I just know for experience, it's a whole lot easier to start with an article that somebody else has written and edit it than it is to stare at a blank screen. You'll also see logos and branding guidelines, including a tone of voice document. You can send that whole zip file right to your marketing team or your corporate comms team, and they will know exactly what to do with that. We're seeing more and more companies use the logo and talk about Cybersecurity Awareness Month externally with their customers, whether you're a B2B company or a B2C company. It includes all the lockups that you see on the right and probably a couple more. And you're welcome to use that logo, as I said, not just internally in your organization, but externally as well. And you'll see it on a lot of our materials that are in the kit. The reason we included the detailed tone of voice document, by the way, is that marketing people, there's often a disconnect between the marketing team and the security team. And marketing folks hear cybersecurity and they immediately think, oh, that's really scary stuff. We don't want to talk to our customers about that. That's going to damage our brand. What if something goes wrong someday? And it's just scary, and that's not an attribute we want associated with our brand. So that tone of voice document gets you through that argument. It's there to help bridge the gap with your marketing team and explain how you can talk about cybersecurity in ways that are helpful and not scary, and make it a brand attribute instead of a potential detriment to your brand. So we have 4 infographics on the 4 different topics. And we also created videos with these. There we go. So we're really happy with those, thought the music came out really good and everything. And you're welcome to, those are downloadable when you sign up and get the kit. You can stick them on your company security portal or do anything you want with those. There's also the actual infographic versions that aren't animated. So how can you get involved? We have a recorded webinar we do in the spring every year. A How to Get Involved in Cybersecurity Awareness Month webinar done by Jen Cook on our team. And that's recorded, and currently, if you missed it live, that's available on our website. We're using the same hashtag that we've used last year. That's going to be evergreen, hashtag #BeCybersmart, but you can definitely join in on social media. Add our logo to your website. We've heard from the folks at Amazon that they're going to be talking about Cybersecurity Awareness Month on the e-commerce site this year. We're really excited about that. The more eyeballs we can get on a platform like Amazon.com, the better. If you have a speaker request, you can go to the Contact Us page on our website and fill out the form. Don't delay, please don't delay. I'm trying to nail down our schedules in the next week or two, and October's getting super, super crowded, but we're happy to speak to your organization if you'd like us. And then CISA also has, for those in the US, CISA also has a speaker request form. And Lance, I'm guessing these slides will be available to everybody. You can go to CISA.gov or you can actually email them. It does take them a little while to respond, so I would also recommend not to delay at all with them. Some of the dates we've got coming up, we have some members of Congress and other government officials speaking on a, I think it's going to be like a 2-hour virtual event on October 6th. We have a Twitter chat. Please ask your marketing team if your company wants to participate in our Twitter chat on October 12th. And then all of you are cordially invited to our Afterglow party on November 2nd. This is just a giant Zoom party. We'll have a speaker from CISA present, and there's games and prizes and contests and free giveaways from the NCA swag store. So if you've seen Tanya or Perry walking around in their shirts, there'll be mugs, stuff like that. We had a really good time doing that last year. So I'm going to pivot for a minute and give you a little bit of background on why we're focusing on just those 4 behaviors and why we're leaning into positivity so much, and in our tone of voice for October, and frankly, all the messaging that you're going to see come from us. So you heard from Oz Alashi earlier from CyberSafe. We worked with CyberSafe last year to create a report called Oh Behave that's available on our website. And we're doing it again for 2022. The 2022 version will be out in time for October. This year, we're including Canada. Last year, we surveyed 1,000 people in the US and 1,000 people in the UK. And this year, we're including Canada. And if my friends from New Zealand are interested, we would love to have them next year, as well as Australia. So we at least get the 5 eyes. And we're happy to have other countries participate as well. We asked 1,000, those 2,000 people from like student age all the way up through retirement age, some interesting questions about not just their security behaviors, but their feelings about security. These are just some highlights of the things we learned in the 2021 report. A lot of people have never heard of MFA. I think it's really the name that's hurting it. A lot of people never or rarely use different passwords for their accounts. 31% of people keep track of their passwords by writing them down in a notebook. Of all the choices we gave people, that was the most popular answer, which was, which kind of keeps me up at night. That was disturbing. And then, of course, we have a fair number of people that don't install updates. So why did we work with CyberSafe? Well, they take a behavioral science lens to cybersecurity, and that's really what we wanted to do with this research, because we know the behavioral science model says you need these 3 things before you exhibit a behavior, right? You need capability, motivation, and opportunity. I have to know how to do something. I have to have the time and place to do it. And I have to be motivated. And that motivational piece is the hardest piece. If that wasn't the case, I would have lost my COVID-19 pounds by now. My garage would be clean. All these things that I know how to do and have the ability to do and have the time and opportunity to do, I'm just not motivated to do. I guess I'd rather have barbecue and tacos. So we ask people about their feelings, because we know that we make emotional decisions occasionally as human beings. And so we thought it was important to drill down there. So we asked people questions like, how do you feel about this statement? I find cybersecurity intimidating. And as you can see here, most people said they were neutral about it, but if you add up the agree and strongly agree, you've got 41% of people in the US and the UK saying that they find cybersecurity intimidating. And I blame this guy. We have used him on everything. We have overused him. And sometimes he looks like this. He has binary floating around him. And this is one of my old favorites that I've even used at SANS conferences before, because it's got every cliche in the book. You've got a skull and crossbones and a bug and the binary floating around him, and every possibly cliche you can think of. And I don't know about you, but I've never seen this in the SOC at the company that I used to work at. But we see images like this in our security training. And I think as somebody who's worked at 2 vendors in the past, we should demand more from them. When we use images like this, it's just not good learning science, right? When we use an image of a guy in a trench coat and a hat trying to tailgate behind somebody, is that really what a tailgater is going to look like? When we use images of, I saw a training module once that had people sitting in an office setting, stock footage of people in an office setting with little envelopes flying around with bat wings, flying around their heads, as if that's what phishing emails are going to look like. They're going to have a skull and crossbones on them. They're going to have bat wings. They're going to look scary. What did Tanya just talk about? Thread hijacking, where it doesn't even come from a spoofed email address. There isn't anything that looks scary about it. Bad people don't look bad. They don't wear hoodies, not all of them. They look like this guy, right? This is one of the ransomware dudes from our evil that's sitting in jail right now. He looks like the boy next door. He looks incredibly innocent. We asked people if they found staying secure online frustrating, and likewise, people feel a little frustrated. We make our employees feel like this. So if people are intimidated and people are frustrated, are they going to engage? Are they going to do the things that we're asking them to do? Are they likely to change their behavior? If you know anything about UX and UI design, and we're going to hear about this tomorrow from Jeremy, there's a cost people pay to interact with technology. It's called the interaction cost. So it's the textbook definition is the sum of mental and physical efforts that the user has to expend to interact with our technology, to do whatever it is they need to do. So that could be their time, their attention, their emotions, and we want those interaction costs to be as low as possible. That's good UX UI design. What's the emotional cost of this been over the past few years on people? 2 years ago, this is all we saw in the news every day. And we saw a lot of this. And then this kind of died down. And then we started seeing a lot of this. And a lot of this. So then what do we do in our free time when this emotional load is just too much? We look for things like this. I'm very anxious to have grandchildren someday. I'm watching other people's baby videos on Facebook. And I don't even like cats, but I will watch funny cat videos. So when we use this, when our country and our world has been through what it's been through in the past couple of years, we're asking people for too much emotional spend. If you're relying on fear as a motivator, the past few years, I hope, have taught us that it's time to stop. So no more hackers and hoodies, and no more fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I want security education to feel like this. I want people to feel empowered, right? We want our employees to feel like they can do this, right? And that means being positive. That means being optimistic. That means saying these things like we're saying them to a dear friend, right? So when I was at Media Pro, which I was there until we got acquired by KnowBe4, what's it been, over a year ago now, I worked with a designer on some training modules, and we were working on one on password managers, and he wasn't from the training and awareness world. He was a designer from an advertising agency that had worked with big consumer brands, and I just wanted something really, really fresh that didn't look like most security training, and I'd worked with him in the past, and so we engaged him to work on a new series of training with us. And he said, you know, Lisa, the problem with a lot of this is that most people see a bright digital future for us. They don't look through the same lens that security people do. You know, where our glass is, you know, if you talk to somebody in your SOC, they're going to tell you that the glass is half empty, not half full. It's just because they see bad stuff happening all day long. So I think we have to remember that this is how our employees are thinking. They're thinking about all the good things that technology has brought to their lives. They're not thinking about the downside. He also told me a story. He came in, it was a Monday, and he said, I did this weekend? My wife and I sat down and we installed a password manager because I've been listening to you talk about this for a year or two. And I finally realized I should just sit down and do it. And now I have peace of mind. I'm not going to worry about this stuff anymore. So my call to action to you is that we should be selling peace of mind. This is what replaces the FUD, right? Talking about the upside instead of talking about the downside. You're going to feel better if you do these things. So that's our message for this October. Please visit our website, follow us on social media, sign up to be a champion. You can watch that recorded webinar if that's helpful. And we have just tons of content on there that's all free. Again, you can copy any of the articles, anything that's on our website, whether it's in that kit or not. It's all out there for free for you to use.